Greetings, loved ones. Today, we are going to continue discussing how to speak up to prevent child sexual abuse. Help us get these messages out. Please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Hit the like button and the notification bell, and please share these messages with others. You could save a life. So let's talk about having the talk. A Helpline caller has said that when I got up the courage to talk to my son, he surprised me by admitting right away that he needed help. So how do we do this? Number one, we begin a conversation. If you really feel it, like something's wrong, start with the simple words, I care about you. People are more likely to listen and change if they feel loved and have hope that life can be better. Many people who struggle with thoughts or feelings they don't understand feel alone, and they don't know who to talk to. We have heard from adults and teenagers who have been sexually abused that hearing, I care about you, made a huge difference to them. It helped them feel less alone. We have also heard from many people with sexual behavior problems that they wish someone had asked them directly, what is going on? If the talk becomes too difficult or either of you becomes really angry, stop. Consider what your next steps will be. You might need to involve other adults, or you may simply say, let's try again tomorrow. This talk is not only your chance, it's just a beginning. So here are some words that you can start with. You can say, I have been struggling with how to talk to you about this. Let me start by telling you how much I care about you. Or I couldn't live with myself if I didn't ask you about this. So having the talk number two is explore the situation without accusation. Think about the conversation as a chance to talk about behaviors, what you saw, what you heard. Talking about your possible conclusions is not always helpful as a first step. Say directly to the other person, this is not an accusation. If you are speaking with a co-parent, stress that you are concerned, as you know they are, for the safety of your child. And you need to decide whether it is safe to talk. If someone has a history of anger or violence, it may not be safe to have this talk or to talk alone with them. So think through with a friend whether you can have the talk and be safe. If you decide it is not safe, take the time to find some outside resources to help you. And if you truly want someone to tell you what they have done or what they are feeling, you need to first say the words out loud. So here are some do's. Do separate the person from the behavior. You can say, I feel uncomfortable when you talk about 12 or 13-year-old girls in such a sexual way. I think that there are other, more positive ways to notice these smart young girls. And do ask direct but simple questions. Like, do you get turned on when looking at children or a particular child? Do name the specific behaviors that you have seen and state your reaction. You can say, I've noticed you staring at a lot of your 5-year-old niece when she's changing clothes. Are you aware of that? It makes me uncomfortable when I see you doing that. We have never talked about this, but I have seen you get an erection when Jenny sits on your lap, and I don't feel comfortable with that. Do follow up with more questions when the answers you hear are not clear or complete. When you say, we were just fooling around, can you tell me what that means? I have seen you touch his or her private parts even when you wrestle. Mother of a 13-year-old boy with sexual behavior problems says, I see my role as helping him grow and take responsibilities for his actions. I am trying to have more frank conversations and not use so many euphemisms such as loose hands or people like you. Now here are some don'ts. Don't jump to conclusions. Don't say, I guess you're not the nice guy I thought you were. Don't say, what are you, some kind of pervert preying on kids? Remember, when you are talking to someone you know or care about, don't generalize and say, I'm concerned about how you act around young girls. Don't use general labels. Did you sexually abuse our son? Don't accept answers until they give you the information you need. And I guess it's okay, everyone fools around once in a while. If someone says, don't worry, I can handle this, it may be true. But it still makes sense to stay involved and be willing to check in again in a few days or a few weeks. So number 3, ending the first talk. Remember, this is not a one-time conversation. Often it takes several talks to really reach someone. Your job is to keep the conversation focused on your concerns. If the listener gets defensive or angry, don't be surprised. If you can, stay connected to your calm self instead of matching the other person's anger. If there is too much anger and fear, you can stop and say that you will need to talk again at another time. Be clear that you still have concerns. You both may need time to think. However, if you become concerned for your immediate safety or that of a child, seek help from a domestic violence program, child protection services, and or the police. Here's some advice from a counselor. She says, conversations do not have to be confrontations. It is too easy to lash out in fear or anger, especially if you are afraid of what you might hear. Planning how you want to talk may be as important as what you will say. So here are some words to end your conversation with. You can say, hey, I've said a lot. Maybe you need time to think about it all. I'll check in soon to talk some more. Or, can we both think about what we've said and agree to talk again in a couple days? Number 4, let's have a debrief. You may have learned things that scare you. You may feel guilty about not saying something sooner. You may have more questions that you would like to ask. Taking time to share what you have gone through with your support. You might need time to think about what else you may want to do. If you don't have someone to talk with, you can call the Stop It Now helpline for support. The helpline can give you information about resources for everyone in the situation. You can call the helpline now and talk to somebody by calling 1-888-PREVENT. Or you can visit the online help center too, and we have that information in the description. According to the CDC, over half of all the children in the world, that's 1 billion children ages 2 to 17 years, experience violence every year. So the question is not if you'll encounter a victim of violence. The question before God is, what will you do when you do encounter them? You could be the person who saves a life. Micah 6:8 says, He has showed you, O man, what is good. And what does the Lord require of you? To do justice, love mercy, and walk humbly with your God. You are called. We are all called to be champions for justice. There is a way out. It is not your fault. Abuse is not love, and you are not alone. If you're suffering violence, reach out to someone today. If you find yourself in a dangerous situation, call 911 for help. If you know of a child or other person suffering violence, tell the authorities. In our next episode, we will have the last episode discussing how you can speak up to prevent child sexual abuse. Until then, God bless you.